Well, we are live now to the last panel of the day and, in fact, of TiECon 2021. Now, on this panel, we've had a couple of very interesting conversations going on backstage, which we are now going to bring to you to the front stage. The start of anything big is always a small seed. In fact, all the wonderful things in the world emerge from an idea. An idea is nothing but a seed. We ought to remember this even more because our roots, India's roots, and particularly Punjab's ethos and roots are all based on agriculture. We've always been an agrarian economy, right? Now, what happens when roots and traditions meet technology and innovations of today? I'm sure something wonderful happens. And we're about to find out through this panel on Agritech, the new decade of smart agriculture. Now, the first guest on this panel, we have with us Mr. Rajiv Sivaj, who's the Chief General Manager of NABARD, Punjab. And NABARD is an organization we've all heard about, studied about since our school days. So technically, the organization needs no introduction at all, and the wonderful work that it is doing in the field of agriculture and rural development. Next up, we have with us Mr. Pradeep Basu, who's the co-founder and CEO of SatSure, a startup which is based on connecting space data with agriculture financing and insurance needs. That's going to be very interesting there. So stay tuned. And we also have with us Mr. Arun Naryal, who's the director of Hydrocorps India Private Limited, a company which is primarily into hydroponics. And we also have with us Mr. Gaurav Sharma, who's a technical expert from GIZ India. If I just may, GIZ is an agency of Germany's federal government working on Germany and India's collaborative agreements and particularly focused right now on Punjab and its ecosystem. That's a diverse and wonderful panel here. And as our moderator, Mr. Sumer Walia, who's the director of SEED, which is the incubation center at Chitkara University, beautifully put it. It's like flying a plane and landing it safely. Sorry, sir, I stole your line there, but I will now leave the panel up to you to take this discussion forward. Looking forward to it and looking forward to learn lots more about how agriculture and technology can come together. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Niharika, and very well said. And beautifully, you have opened the panel and with your wonderfully woven words and setting the context to our conversation. Hope we do justice. Thank you very much. Okay, so well, I would say gentlemen. So only because ladies are not here in the panel, but hope they would have been. We would have had some expert on that also, but definitely we have stalwarts from the field related to agri. We have a great deep-rooted institution, NABARD, which has been at the helm of affairs and the, I would say research, financing, a lot of stuff on the agri part. We have GIZ being represented by Gaurav for the state of Punjab. We have Pradeep, who's a very, I would say, passionate entrepreneur in the field of space tech, and with over 7 countries, he's got his footprints of his business. And we have Arunji, who has, an expertise in setting up hydroponics and hydroponic farm, and very well from the state of Punjab. So, well, we know what is happening. We know Punjab, as one of the most popular agrarian state in the country, and we know how agriculture is the backbone of the society in terms of I would say providing food, everything in terms of our well-being, I would say, and how it has evolved, and there is a great history to it, and how the mandi system, how the green revolution in 77, and before that, and how the rise of I would say the financing, the financing institutes, the I would say financing in from parts of Punjab, Vidarbha, Barnala, Batinda. So how a parallel economy also started in a way to support the agriculture. So a lot of transitions have happened, but our topic today is that how agritech, smart agritech is coming into shape, and what are the changes we are experiencing. Like for example, we have conventional tractors which we are using in our fields, farmers use, but now we have e-tractors trying to find their market. So a lot of disruption and innovation happening. Let me put this question straight on to Mr. Sivach. He's been there with NABARD for a very long time, and he has been very much having an industry interface. And let us have his very simple views on how he feels a decade before the scene was in agri, and how is the decade now? What is the scene now? What's happening? What are his thoughts? Are there enough entrepreneurs coming in the field of agri-tech
Yeah.
or
Thank you, Sumit.
agriculture? Yeah. So maybe
Yeah.
we have your views, and everybody else, please feel free to comment, and
Yeah.
we'll make it interesting and sort of well-meaning conversation.
My special thanks to Thai team for giving me this opportunity, and thank you, Sumit, for giving this opportunity for making opening remarks. I'm really honest that I'm enthused to find young people as a panelist, co-panelist with me. That
Thank
gives me a
you.
lot of pleasure. And being an agriculture graduate, I have observed this sector for quite some long time. My entire education, my entire career has been in agriculture. And recent years, it has lost its scene to some extent. The younger people don't want to join agriculture. The first choice is that to move out of agriculture. And that is what the farmer families are opting for. But recently, we have some changes. Educated people who are serving abroad, IT people, they are coming back to their roots and they want to serve the agriculture sector with IT enabled services and various value added services.
Right.
So there is a scope for new kind of technology. And when we talk of technology, generally we have a limited option that there will be some kind of greenhouse, some kind of precision farming will be there, and some drone will be there spraying some pesticide. We have that kind of vision, but we should not restrict technology only to farm level, farm gate level. Rather, the expansion of technology should be beyond farm, whether it is post harvest, whether it is supply chain, whether it's a production of seeds, whether it is giving genetically modified seeds, and whether it is processing, agro processing. So the entire gamut of agriculture needs to build on technology platform so that farmers are really benefited. And as you are aware that recently the agriculture sector, particularly in green belt area, is facing a lot of challenge. Farmers are on road and they are feeling insecure that if present set of practices, that is wheat and paddy production, where they are comforted to the extent that they are getting minimum spot price, if that is disturbed, they will be left with no options. So they feel very insecure.
Perfect.
But this scenario can be changed gradually, and based on some incentive, farmers can be motivated to move on to the value-added crop, high-value crops. So these are my initial remarks, and now
Perfect. I think that's very well said. I'll pick up one of your comments that why youth is not much getting into agriculture.
Yeah.
And I'll request Gaurav to come in and comment because they have done a lot of paid work. And before they set up GIZ operations with the Punjab government and setting up an independent array of things in in the state of Punjab. Gaurav, what are your thoughts? What do you think, on a personal opinion, which you can share, that why not much of youth is coming into agriculture per se, the conventional agriculture? I understand entrepreneurs are jumping into development of technology for agriculture and its operations, maintenance, and all that stuff. But what are your thoughts? Why youth is not coming? And then I will request Pradeep also to give the answer to this question. Gaurav, over to you.
So Ali, I'll have to request you to repeat the question because there was a network
No
glitch at
problem,
my
no
end.
problem. Mr. Sivach from NABARD mentioned that it's a sign of worry that the youth is not adapting to conventional agriculture, as their practice and as their profession. And yes, he also has given a hope that technology is coming, but it can have a wider, impact, not only limited to agriculture. My question to you is, why do you think, or if you think, and what do you think on why youth is not enough motivated to come into agriculture with open heart and with passion? uh, can you hear me, Gaurav? Or maybe we can request Prateep to answer. Gaurav can jump in. Prateep?
Yeah, sure. So I'm probably not the right person to answer this, because I personally have been always in the technology space, and my experience with agriculture has been only through the work of our company. And what we find is that the overall aspect of how you look at agriculture, it's not like a small business. It's seen uh, m- more from the perspective of culture, your family tradition, and it's something which we need to keep doing, not just for making money. It's meant for making, feeding yourself.
Right.
So that that retuning of how to make agriculture profitable, how every farmer is an entrepreneur, that change is slowly coming. I won't say it's not there. It's I have probably spent a lot of my time in the southern states, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, and we see so many young guys who are coming back from their IT jobs, sometimes from abroad, and who are starting very high value crops business. Like for example, we see in Karnataka, cooperatives being formed for Arakkanat plantations. We see in Telangana, palm oil plantations being put forward, because they understand. These are the young guys who are understanding how to link to the forward and the backward linkages in the market, and they are seeing agriculture as a business. And but again, it would not be right to comment on whether this is a consistent change across India, or is it just in certain pockets of India, because we are such a vast country. I come from Jharkhand, which is very backward place, and I don't see any of these things happening there. So I believe, as a bottom line, we need to rebrand agriculture as a sector which is which is a bunch of entrepreneurs, rather than people who are seen as uh, just working at the farm to feed the country and feed
Right.
themselves.
Working in the fields and all. So there has to be a mindset shift also. Gaurav, please add. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this entire agriculture ecosystem need to be revitalized with there are a lot of entrepreneurship opportunities across the supply chain or in the agriculture sector. Like
Right.
Prateep mentioned pre and post harvest management. I also see the role of not only AI or technology led startups or interventions like similar to those which Prateep is undertaking. I also see a good amount of manufacturing facilities to be established to support either clusters of or agriculture clusters or a particular area or region.
Right.
For example, we have been struggling a lot for quite some time over the paddy straw, the management of residual, this paddy management. So a concrete solution in terms of the volume of such intervention is required, or the size of such intervention is required, still missing. So
Right.
bottom line, I think I would like to conclude this particular statement with uh, that I think the established entrepreneurs or the large scale industries in this sector can take forward this agenda, and they can help and entrepreneurs become real entrepreneurs who are in the incubation stage, a startup stage. They can help them jointly, or they can work jointly to
Right.
revitalize the system. Yeah.
No, this is a very beautiful point. Industry stalwarts who are big, real big, and for them to, mentor or create 5 to 6 startups each is not a big ball game, right? So that is something beautiful point you are, leaving us with your statement. And let me just, before I go to Rajiv ji, let me ask Arun ji what are his thoughts, because I really like the point Pradeep mentioned that, why agriculture is no longer much profitable, and then we come on to Rajiv ji later on for because he handles the finance part bit also. Arun ji, what are your thoughts? Why the youth is not enough motivated to take agriculture as a profession, and there is some reluctancy. Yeah, but please unmute. Yes, yes, please.
Thank you all of you, and giving me a chance to come here and share my views.
Please be a little louder, maybe up your volume, sir.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, much better. Please go ahead.
Okay. So, as per my opinion, I was I am not basically from agriculture family, but when I saw that it may be a good profitable business or it is a good industry, then we started hydroponic. So when we saw that कि जो ऑलरेडी ट्रेडिशनल मार्केट्स में जिस तरीके से काम हो रहा है और अगर हम उससे कुछ बेटर और कुछ अलग तरीके से काम करेंगे और एक अच्छी क्वालिटी अगर प्रोवाइड करेंगे तो इट कैन बी ए गुड प्रॉफिटेबल थिंग्स so then we started in 2010 when we started it we saw that कि just for the जस्ट कह सकते हैं कि शौक के लिए हमने स्टार्ट किया था कि डोंट नो दैट कि इट विल कम लाइक दैट इस तरीके से हम इस बड़े स्केल पे हम इसे करेंगे बट व्हेन वी स्टार्टेड इट देन इट वाज जस्ट अ बिगिनिंग then in 2015 we started growing with medicinal plants before that we were just growing only vegetables
Right.
जब हमने देखा कि वेजिटेबल्स में हमें हम क्योंकि पेरिशेबल्स हैं हमें मार्केट को उस तरीके से देखना पड़ेगा कि मार्केट जैसे ही हमारे प्रोडक्शंस आती है साथ साथ उसकी प्लानिंग जब हमने देखा कि अगर हम इसको मेडिसिनल हर्ब्स की तरफ अगर हम जाते हैं देन वी तब हम ज़्यादा अच्छे तरीके से मार्केट को कैप्चर कर पाएंगे एज ए कमर्शियली टर्म्स के हिसाब से then we started in 2015 in with medicinal plants and in 2018 we started manufacturing of ayurvedic medicines and nutraceutical products so
Okay. So you believe that your effort in the second part of changing the track has yielded in better profits and all.
Yeah.
Right? It is working out better.
Yeah. So ये कह सकते हैं कि अगर किसी भी काम को अगर सही तरीके से किया जाए और थोड़ा सा उसमें एक जो टेक्नोलॉजी का सहारा लेके अगर अच्छे से किया जाए तो एवरी बिजनेस कैन
तो उसका रिजल्ट आएगा ही आएगा अच्छा रिजल्ट आएगा नहीं ये बिल्कुल जिस दृढ़ता से और जिस अनुशासन से मुझे लगता है आपने इसको बनाया है थिंग्स आर coming in your favor and it is helping the society also and quality stuff is coming out इस पे we will definitely come but let me talk to Rajiv sir and Rajiv ji ये बताइए कि that is there enough finance for which can be turned into a scalable project for young entrepreneurs and if you can also comment on the profitability for youngsters coming into the field of agriculture in terms of young startups and all that stuff.
Yeah, that is a very pertinent question actually in today's agriculture transformation. When we talk of startup, we need to have some kind of incubation support for them. And that ecosystem has just started developing. As you are also hosting an incubation center. Recently, I have visited Punjab Agriculture University, Ludhiana. They have also set up an incubation center for food processing. So likewise, this incubation thing has gone long and wide. Even
Right.
NABARD has set up agribusiness incubation center at 7 places that include HEU Hisar, IIT Kharagpur, and TNAU Madurai. So some of these are really giving good results. So initially, I mean, we have to have some kind of incubation support for the startups. And when it comes to financial support, we need venture funding. So that some lazy investment is there and who find right kind of opportunity to support. And NABARD has many subsidiaries that includes NAB Venture also, where
Right.
we have a alternate investment fund and who supports the startup in agriculture, food, rural business, agriculture, rural financial services at early to mid stage. That is the age when you require this kind of funding. And we are focused on driving transformation in these industries by providing strategic and operational insights, patient capital, and access to our extensive network. And we have been successful in supporting some of the startup. Like I'll give you some example. There is a Jai Kisan, a rural fintech startup. Unati Solutions, a tech-driven
Yeah.
Uh,
Only 3 is quite popular. Yeah.
Popular produce selling startup, meat brand tender cuts, and Sanyukta Analytics are few only startup where we have made funding. So we need a special arrangement for funding startup. If you go to a bank and you expect them to fund a startup, that may not be feasible. So traditionally in India, in business families, the younger one in the family are always supported by the family with some initial capital.
Right.
But when it come entrepreneur from the background which is not from the business or from farming sector, they don't have that kind of support. So
Right.
we need to develop more venture funding opportunity for the startups. That is my
Perfect. I
opinion.
think your comment is focusing very much on the early stage development of the idea
Yeah,
under a very structured incubation, which is
yeah,
also flexible, very
yes,
good set of mentors. And then comes the role of financial institutions, banks, and all to cushion them with some sort of grants and financial aid. And then they should also realize, the young startups, that it is not the grants which make or build businesses, it is the customers. So you have to scale, right?
yes,
So so that they can have the game of scale, which is very critical. We understand this entire transition, and we also want that the development of incubation centers in academic institutions or non-academic institutions. For example, as you mentioned, PAU has an incubation center. This is amazing. I was recently visiting ICRISAT in Hyderabad,
yeah,
which is amazingly set up institute in agri research and crop research, and they do combination crops, and they do season crops, all that stuff. And but I was impressed to see the incubation center they have built with 33 companies, related to Agritech and all. Uh, so, do we also see some sort of? Obviously, we have to take inspiration from somebody, and we also need to respect and admire if somebody is doing better than us. So, do we also miss, Gaurav, something like an incubation center which has a respecting today's times demands, the technology in place, a whole set of wholesome development for a agriculture related startup? Do you think we need more incubation centers to support Rajiv ji's comment, and what type of incubation centers?
Thank you. Well, recently we have conducted a stakeholder consultation, which you are also a part of. So we
Yes.
came to know that there are around more than 2024 startups in Punjab, sorry, incubation centers in Punjab. But since we are working with a couple of them, there are certain challenges which each of these incubation center
Yeah,
is
let's address
facing.
those. Yeah, yeah, and feel free to
Yeah,
comment, other panelists, please. Let's not make it a dull event.
yes.
Please feel
no,
free to comment what are the challenges. Yes, Gaurav, please.
yeah, the first one is, for example, for many of them, more than 50%, they're running low on their, funding part. Like you mentioned one in Hyderabad, you said it is being set up by 33 companies.
Ikrisat,
And
yeah.
yeah, and if I take the reference from Punjab, barring a few, most of them are individual incubators, and they're still missing on the connect they have with entrepreneurs, because they don't have at this moment instruments which are of mutual interest to MSMEs as well as incubation centers. So like I
Right.
said in my previous comment, entrepreneurs need to, they're required to come forward to support the first challenge is, of course, funding. We have schemes from government of India also, but I mean, I won't be able to comment on the efficacy or the actual implementation of the same, because of the various challenges at their end, or the
Right.
scrutiny which is required at their end. But we have other challenges related to the mentoring part, and then uh, on the technology part also, because we have not been a part of this transformation. For example, the incubation centers, they have not been a part of the manufacturing transformation which has happened in India. They need to now improve upon what is there already with them. For example, we have had a couple of startups, agri related startups, who required special purpose machine to convert the residue to a usable product. But because the entrepreneurs are not involved, who work with machines on a daily basis or who innovate on a daily basis. Incubation centers themselves, they are, I would say, quite they're running quite low on experts, mentors, and the required technical as well as fin support from their MSME partners, or I would say stakeholders.
Industry. Well, I think
Yeah.
that is very well said. The kind of growth we could have seen, and especially in an enterprising state like Punjab, is something which we feel that could be better. And definitely, that's the reason we all have come together to at least contribute our bit to the entire growth of this culture. Well, when you said about the incubation center and all, let's look at one challenge, which is that the linkages between the incubation centers, the continuous access to problem statements, the pool of problem statements. Maybe it could be laid down by departments and private bodies like TAI and entrepreneurs. They, okay, here is 100 problem statements, and we invite entrepreneurs to come and give us solutions to this. And here is NABARD saying, or bank saying, here is the finance if you give us a solution. And here is TAI saying, okay, here is the mentoring setup. And here is Chitkara, or somebody like Chitkara says, okay, we give you an office space. You have to be free, because mental makeup of a young entrepreneur is very important. He or she should be free mentally to express his or her creativity. That's very important. So, Mr. Arunji, please comment on the thought on challenges, and then we ask Prateep what are the challenges he thinks. He must have also gone through building such a sizable business. Yeah, Gaurav, please.
Yeah, I also want to highlight, because at couple of instances we had tried to establish this linkage support or linkage or networking, to revitalize or to vitalize this ecosystem through networking. Most of the times we have heard back from the industry association presidents or the executive members that what is there for us. So I think incubation centers need to improve on their articulations of their value proposition.
Right.
What do they offer to MSMEs? Because initially, if I call someone to sponsor or to for the prize money also, definitely he would ask what is there in return for me. So that articulation needs to be reworked or to
Yeah,
be
I
comprehensively put
think
out.
no, I think that's a very valid point. But things are improving. We were recently having a very good discussion with the Punjab government and Department of Science, Technology, and Entrepreneurship. We were just talking with them, and after the policy discussion and certain thoughts, yesterday only we got a mail. Okay, each innovator would get ₹1,00,000. Things are moving. So we thought, okay, let's introduce that offering to our students and our incubated startups, because Chitkara has around 8 to 10 agri-tech startups, and a few of them have done very well. We recently won in China around 200,000 yuan, and we have a company there, a startup which has made a machine to check out the weeds from the farms through cell necrosis process and all. And a very beautiful machine that they have done. The second one, they've done a startup called Bhugol, which is incubated at Chitkara University under our incubator. Now, what does Bhugol do? It predetermines the weather for small farms. That, okay, what is the weather going to be, and that can help a farmer to produce or plan accordingly. So a lot of things are happening there, but yes, the industry definitely needs to open up a little bit. That's one takeaway we take up from this discussion. Arunji, your thoughts, and then I'll request Prateep, please. आपके क्या ख्याल है? अनम्यूट कीजिए. हाँ जी. अनम्यूट कीजिए. हाँ जी.
Thank you, Sameer ji.
हाँ
As
जी.
per my opinion, the biggest problem of the world is to finding the solution.
Right.
So it is only not only the we can say that ये सिर्फ इस बात का मतलब नहीं है कि हमने फार्मर को ही अपलिफ्ट करना है, but there is another thing is that what we are eating, what the things जो कि हमारे प्लेट पे हमारे सामने जो आज चीज आ रही है, what we are eating right now. So that is also in matter right now कि मार्केट में सिर्फ फार्मर्स को अपलिफ्ट भी करना है, उनकी इंडस्ट्रीज को भी अपलिफ्ट करना जरूरी है, साथ ही साथ जो चीज प्रोड्यूस हो रही है उसकी क्वालिटी को भी अपलिफ्ट करना है. So simultaneously these two things are very important So in my point of view, that is the only reason I choose hydroponic, because when we produce something in hydroponic, the quality value of the product, quality value of the plants, and the nutritious value is very high as compared to soil farming.
And there is a one-time investment, and then the recurring cost is also less.
Yes, yes, sir, definitely, that's right. So, in one thing I would like to say that when we growing something in the soil, so अगर हम इसे बात करें तो सॉइल में हमने कोई चीज अगर उगा रहे हैं, तो सबसे पहले जो प्लांट्स है वो क्या करेगा, अपनी रूट्स को बढ़ाता है, फॉर व्हाट, टू गेट प्रॉपर डाइट, राइट. सो जो प्लांट है वो जो डाइट लेता है वो इनऑर्गेनिक फॉर्म में लेता है.
So इसमें मैं I will just comment, sir. I understand. Sorry to cut in, but you are focusing that कि एक तो produce अच्छी हो, उसकी जो start है वो अच्छी हो, so that it is more hygienic, more nutritious, and then the journey to the market, and which includes scale, so, customers and all.
Right.
Perfectly all right, Pradeep. Would you like to comment on this, what we are discussing, and then I ask Dr. Rajiv.
Right. I guess I'll just reiterate a bit of what Gaurav said about incubators not defining their offering, their
clusters and all.
Yeah. And I'll tell you a very unique entrepreneur problem who has been part of incubators in the past. So,
please.
See, what happens is each and every company, when they go for apply for these incubators, they are in different stages. The incubators, many of them, they fail to differentiate between a company that is doing, let's say, 10 lakhs business per month and 1 crore business per month. I'm just giving, like, it may seem very small if that incubator is, let's say, funded by a big organization, etc. But there is a huge difference in the kind of from a startup perspective where these two companies stand, which means that there is no customized kind of nurturing that can take place, because it's very goal driven. Okay, the five startups came, how much funding are they able to raise, how much connects we are getting, right? So I personally feel that number one, this kind of slight customization should be there to improve the quality of the companies that are coming in and going out. Number two is the fixation with founders. Honestly, the companies are only started by founders. It is built by so many other people, and because most incubators insist that the founders be part of each and every element of the program. Many a times the learning that the founders have are not translating to the next level, which is the one running the company in the scale up phase. So that is another gap which happens. This is going beyond the funding issues of incubators and corporate the corporates not coming into fund. For example, we recently funded an STPI incubator on agriculture, and it was funny to see that we are ourselves a startup, we were the only private sector partner for the first 4 months, despite so many big agri companies in India. So it's a combination of many different things.
No, I think that's very commendable, and you have really addressed the operational challenge in terms of the business scale and all. But also when I said ki Arun ji ne jo bola ki the setting to the I would say staying to the topic, the smart agriculture. Hydroponics is one example of smart agriculture, right? What are the other examples of smart agriculture, Rajiv ji, comes to your mind? And you must be going through a lot of decks and all plans coming to you for funding.
Yeah, Samir, actually sustainability is the biggest challenge before us.
Absolutely.
Okay, and the sustainability is in the form of soil health, water, and even our health. That's also part of sustainability.
Right.
So as Arun was very rightly pointing out, that what we eat is equally important.
Yes.
And how we sustain our resources for our future generation, that is also very important.
Right.
So in that direction, precision farming is very important. you have to optimally use the resources, whether it is fertilizer, whether it is some kind of pesticide or insecticide, or soil, even soil for that matter. So precision farming is the way forward, where we use all the technology very optimally, and there we need the help of technology and technologists. So startup can play a big role in that, and they are already, they are already active in the space. So only thing we need to, as you rightly indicated, that all this incubation center, etc., are working in silos. Each one is addressing their very limited problems.
Right.
If we have a coordinated network of incubation centers, and we can share resources, share problems with each other, and in a very systematic and on a technology platform, that can definitely help us in taking forward the precision farm.
I think both the points are amazing. Another takeaway from this conversation could be that the precision farming is the way forward. That is clear. And then also optimum utilization of resources, because the management of the soil, as Arunji pointed out, and the future outcome of the health the generation we are living in, is something very critical and very connected. Now, the thing is that I think the smart agriculture example would be, one is way forward is precision farming, and second is that optimum utilization of resources. Now, Arunji, you were mentioning about the outcome, what we are eating and all that excited you to come up with this option of hydroponics and all. How much investment did you made when you set up this business? Audio, please. Audio.
Sir, we have two numbers of hydroponic plants in Punjab. One of them is in Moga, and the second one is in Mohali. जो मोहाली में हमारा सेटअप है, it is near about 6 एकड़ का सेटअप है. So we invest there approximately 11 crore rupees, and we are investing more than 100 crores there. अभी अपने इसको और ज़्यादा हम आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं. So what we had established right now, we are enhancing it at 10 times more than what we have now.
Capacity, okay.
So समीर जी, सिर्फ उसको प्लांट्स को उगाना तक ही मतलब कि सीमित नहीं रहती चीज़ें, कि हमने हाइड्रोपोनिक में प्रोडक्ट्स या प्लांट्स को अच्छी चीज़ें उगा तो ली है, लेकिन मोस्ट ऑफ द थिंग्स व्हाट आई सॉ दैट कि जब हम किसी भी मेडिसिनल हर्ब्स या किसी भी प्लांट्स की हम प्रोडक्शन करते हैं, ग्रोथ तो हो जाती है, जब हम उसकी प्रोडक्शन करने के बाद उसकी प्रोसेसिंग करते हैं, तो प्रोसेसिंग के वक्त उसकी जो न्यूट्रिशियस वैल्यू है हम लॉस कर देते हैं कहीं ना कहीं. ये एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है जो हमारे सामने देखने में आई है. फॉर दैट सेक हमारे पास वी हैव अ गुड टीम ऑफ साइंटिस्ट एंड डॉक्टर्स जिन्होंने पिछले 10 साल से हमारे साथ कंधे से कंधे मिलाकर काम किया और हर चीज़ के बारे में बहुत ज़्यादा इस आफ्टर प्रोसेसिंग मतलब आफ्टर प्रोडक्शन उसकी प्रोसेसिंग किस तरीके से की जाए उसके ऊपर ध्यान दिया गया ताकि उसकी.
So I think based on your comment, an opportunity for viewers, listeners, and young entrepreneurs, students is that how they can build solutions in processing of the produce. Yeah. So that's another takeaway which comes out from this session.
One more thing is that, sir, after that when we produce something and process something and manufacture something, the biggest problem is that market, how we market it. So मुझे इस बात को कहने में बहुत गर्व फील हो रहा है कि व्हाट वी आर प्रोड्यूसिंग राइट नाउ हमारी ऑलरेडी मार्केट बहुत अच्छी है, क्वालिटी ज़्यादा अच्छी होने की वजह से हमने एक मार्केटिंग कंपनी अलग से, बिकॉज वी हैव चैनलाइज्ड इट वेरी इन ए प्रॉपर वे. सो इन दैट केस हमारा जो मार्केटिंग भी इसकी बहुत बढ़िया तरीके से हो रही है. इसी कारण हमारा अभी हिमाचल गवर्नमेंट के साथ 500 करोड़ रुपीस का एग्रीमेंट MOU जो है फाइनल होने वाला है 1-2 दिनों में.
So that is ये देखो ये ऐसे है, जो मर्जी है, चाहे छोटा बिजनेस है या बड़ा, चाहे एग्रीटेक है या नॉन एग्री या जो भी बिजनेस है, quality will always remain a benchmark. Quality will always remain a point. You will have a buyer. Now let me go on to take the conversation to the retail part. A lot of retail, e-commerce, agri stuff, produce, veggies, perishable product है, medicines जो बन रही हैं, को कितनी वैरायटी, देयर इज अ ह्यूज रेंज. ई-कॉमर्स के ऊपर जो इतनी फंडिंग स्टार्टअप्स को मिलती है और इतना चल रहा है बिजनेस, क्या उसमें 100% ऑथेंटिसिटी रहती है? How do you want share about, what would you comment on the e-commerce part, buying from a mandi or a shop or a vendor at home rather than going and buying online? I understand a lot of good initiatives of Punjab government is also being done on the retail part. They have a beautiful website, an app also, where you can order a very good amount of veggies, good quality, I would say. But what are your take on e-commerce for agri? you know is it the only solution to find a market, or there is another solution to find a market? Maybe Gaurav, would you like to add, and then Rajiv sir can add?
Look, if you want to have a personal views, I would say there are better ways, other better ways to,
Yeah, I would like to
other
know
than
that. Yeah.
because there are some things which it is better that we go out and buy.
Yeah.
Because I cannot tell you what is the alternate solution, but yeah, we shall explore more. There are certain items, when it comes to perishable items, uh, I really I cannot say whether e-commerce, the point you mentioned about their authenticity remains same or get compromised. I mean, that's still a question.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, I would like to listen from those who are working
Let's
in the
talk
street.
about alternative market options, marketable options. That maybe Prateek, would you like to comment, and then I go to the senior Mr. Rajiv, and his expert comments. What are the alternative markets apart from e-commerce, and that also for agri product which has a shelf life, and it is a question of our health.
True. Well, I guess that's a tough one for me, considering again I come from a tech space. So models which are more like a hybrid model, uh, those are quite interesting. I'll tell you an example, not from the vegetables, from the meat industry. So we know Fresh to Home, and we know this company Licious, right? So they are owning they are having delivery only model. But there is another third company called Tender Cuts, which is a very interesting company where you have both the offline and the online model. And as someone who has meat, I think that's very interesting proposition, because while we like the convenience of the e-commerce model, there are certain specific ways in which we want the fish to be cut, or chicken to be made, because of the kind of gravy we are, or kind of recipe we are preparing. So I am sure that moving forward in all of these e-commerce versus brick and mortar debate, we will see a phygital model becoming more and more common, because it caters to both the convenience as well as the quality and the experience perspective, the personal experience which all of us want. And I guess I'll be more happy to hear from our other
Sure.
panelists,
I think
like
no.
especially
Well,
Rajiv sir.
you did your best to bring out your thoughts, but let us ask Rajiv ji also. What are the alternative ways for a farmer to market their produce, as Arun ji sees that as a challenge? He's lucky. What about those who struggle to make it to market?
Yeah, Samir. Actually, when we talk of digital platforms through which we purchase various eatables, that these are basically aggregators. They buy from farmer and they process in certain way, market it through a digital platform.
Right.
But when it comes to farmers, we have a system of MSP, which is very popular in Punjab. And FCI is the biggest aggregator for that matter, particularly for wheat and rice. And then we have cooperative sector working in dairy. Amul is a very successful model. And based on that Amul model, there are a lot of private investors who come in dairy sectors, and they have become aggregator.
Right.
Mother Dairy tried to market their marketing milk very well, but they tried through this vegetable also. So, I mean, e-commerce maybe there. I mean, home delivery is a very convenient thing, particularly after COVID. But when it comes to marketing avenues for the farmers, it has to be a mix and match of many platforms. We cannot limit it to one particular kind of thing.
Right. So do you think, sir, that more coming to you, Gaurav? Do you think, sir, that more mandis or more outlets of government giving more space for opportunities for a customer to go and buy veggies so that they enjoy the fresh produce? There are the more clusters and more processing units and all these things need to ramp up a little bit more. Access to fresh produce is also a challenge. So do you think the population we have and the 2 or 3% population which is techie and order online and all due to their fast-paced life, but do you think there could be more opportunities of infrastructure set up a little bigger?
Samir, may I come in here?
Yes.
When you talk of fresh vegetable or perishables, that include your fruits, meat, eggs, and all these things, dairy items, we need a very strong cold chain.
Right.
Farm gate to consumer.
Right.
Thing. So cold chain is very important. The logistic and value chain financing in a very systematic manner
Right.
can help in solving the problem of perishables.
So I think absolutely the infrastructure remains still a critical challenge. That's another takeaway from this conversation. Please, Gaurav, you have been waiting to give a comment on this.
Wanted to introduce two of the known scenarios. One, they both relate to the marketing part, but in two different geographical regions. So one is a couple of my friends. They are running. They are doing this organic farmer somewhere in Solon, and every week they coordinate among themselves or the similar farmers, and they come to Chandigarh with their produce, and they set up an organic mandi there. They finish off and go back home empty vehicles and filled up pockets. So this is one scenario where you have a good connectivity.
Right.
If I take the case of the place where I am presently in Himachal, where the connectivity is not so good, and when we talk about fruits like apple, or we talk about dry fruits like walnut, uh, these are being harvested in small pockets at different altitudes. So in Himachal, there are a couple of organizations which are working in this line. They're acting as a common facility center or common support center to these scattered group of farmers. So they take their produce, they pack it up, they add value to it through packaging or through different marketing channels they open. So in a way, they have helped farmers to take their produce from far-flung villages to a district level market, and from the district level market through this common infrastructure, they are also using some part of the e-commerce. They're also exporting this stuff.
Right. So I think your point is very
cooperative model also fits in, like Rajiv ji mentioned when he cited Amul as an example. There's a good role of NGOs who can become farmer producer organizations and ensure backward forward linkages. So these are the potential market channels which
No,
can
I
still
think
be explored.
that supply chain system, the chain system which mentioned by Rajiv ji, and the aggregation part which he mentioned, like big aggregators like Big Basket on e-retail and all e-commerce, they're selling it, and there are a young startup which I know we started a month back called Fresh Cart, from Panchkula. So what they are doing is they are aggregating the best produce, packaging it, and then selling it, and they are making now baskets of, let's say, 1100 bucks and all, which bucks, okay, it's a mixed bunch of, they would, through their artificial intelligence thought process, they would say, okay, person for next 3 days would need this, this is their pattern of eating and consuming. So a lot of innovation is happening there, but yes, they also struggle to find customers and make it happen.
Samir, in a way, that decision making is also being outsourced now.
Yes,
so
that's what. Data analytics.
Yeah.
Absolutely. अरुण जी, आप कुछ कहना चाह रहे थे इस पे, because you are really at the helm of affairs. आप तो बिल्कुल on ground काम कर रहे हैं इस पे.
सर समीर जी, मैं सिर्फ अपना एक्सपीरियंस ही शेयर कर सकता हूँ आपको.
प्लीज. हाँ जी.
As per my experience, when we saw market, तो हमने इसको हर तरीके से कैप्चर करने की कोशिश की है, जिसमें हमने ई कॉमर्स का भी सहारा लिया है, फ्रेंचाइजी
Right.
हमने डेवलप किया है, और साथ के साथ हमने डायरेक्ट सेलिंग का सहारा भी लिया है।
Okay.
We are also exporting our manufactured product to the many countries right now. So as per my concern कि जिस भी मार्केट के जो भी जरिए हैं, जो भी तरीके हैं, वे हैं, हमें सबको अपनाना चाहिए, और अपना के उस पर अगर रिजल्ट डेफिनेटली, अगर अच्छे तरीके से प्रेजेंटेबल होगी हमारी चीज़ें, तो डेफिनेटली उसका रिजल्ट आएगा। तो मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ यही है कि मार्केट को स्टडी करके उसका अपनी चीज़ को प्रेजेंटेबल बनाना है, और मार्केट जो है आपके पास खड़ी है लेने के लिए, क्योंकि उसको ज़रूरत है। बट कनेक्टिविटी की कहीं ना कहीं प्रॉब्लम है कि वायर जो है वो सेलर तक या सेलर वायर तक कनेक्ट नहीं हो पा रहा है। तो इस लिंक को हमें ख़त्म करना है, और द वायर आर रेडी टू बाय, बट द दे ऑल्सो थिंक दैट कि वो चीज़ को जो ले रहे हैं वो एक प्रेजेंटेबल हो। और एट प्रेजेंट अगर जो चीज़ मैं देख रहा हूँ, लोग खर्च करने के लिए या खर्चने के लिए करते नहीं है, पर चीज उन्हें अच्छी मिलनी चाहिए। इफ यू आर गिविंग समथिंग गुड टू देम एंड दे आर बाइंग। और एक चीज मैंने और भी देखी है कि मैक्सिमम लोग ये चीज नहीं देखते हैं कि यार आप कौन सी चीज महंगी है, कौन सी सस्ती है। आज के टाइम में ये चीज देखते हैं कि कौन सी चीज अच्छी है, फिर कंपेरेटिव तो उसके साथ कंपैरिजन करते हैं जो एक हाई क्वालिटी के साथ।
Absolutely, and influencer market influencers बहुत हैं,
जी
so okay, 4 दिन आपने सोचा कि ये उसने बोल दिया, डॉक्टर ने, या उसने बोल दिया, तो अब इधर चल पड़ो. So one has to stick to the conviction and a pattern. But मैं एक क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहता हूँ. एक चीज पे कस्टमर हेल्पलेस रहता है, वो है प्राइस.
जी
The fluctuation in price.
जी
Quality okay, that's fine, but how does one have some sort of comfort zone for a customer who has some sort of a power to control the price also? इसके लिए मैं राजीव जी से कुछ पूछना चाहता हूँ कि सर, you are helm of affairs with the government on the subject. The price fluctuation is seasonal, and then at the end of the day the customer has to feed himself, because जिंदगी की सबसे गहरी हमारी जो हैबिट है वो खाना है. So one has to go ahead with it कि नहीं यार लेना है. But we somewhere suffer on the offer which the seller is giving, and we say okay, now we have to buy it.
Yes, Samirji, this particular issue of price fluctuation is more in certain commodities like onion, tomato, and few other crops. So government has tried to address it through a program, which I don't remember exactly now, where they have devised a method wherever there is a surplus production and prices are falling. See, you generally see on television that farmers are throwing their tomato on the road.
Right.
And after 1 month, the same tomato you buy at 50 rupees a kg or 100 rupees a kg. So, I mean, there is a system where these commodities are supported in terms of transport facilities. Certain aggregators are authorized for that. And they, take out the market from surplus area, they take out the commodity from surplus area and send it to deficit areas.
Right.
So, that one initiative government has taken. But ultimately, it has to be, the solution will come from supply chain only. In the long term, solution supply chain.
Supply chain. I think, well, the conversation is now getting very deeper, but we always have the time issue. But what I would like to sum up, here is that young entrepreneurs who are listening to this conversation, and I'm sure they should go a little step forward to reach out to the stalwarts on the panel here in person and try and have a better, time of theirs, sit down, discuss, and maybe they get mentorship from Arunji, who's done it so well, in a very bootstrap way. He brought the company, is talking about 100 crores rupees of investment in a 6-acre farm and trying to bring very infusion of technology. And on the policy, Gaurav has been giving his thoughts. And what one takeaway young entrepreneurs can find an opportunity is do some validation right, do some problem identification. Supply chain में बहुत scope है, infrastructure में scope है, food की supply and pipeline बनाने में till consumption there is a lot of scope for entrepreneurs. districts and towns where there is bad road accessibility and the produce doesn't reach on time, and there is not a culture of agriculture in a particular district, there is a scope for entrepreneurs how they can make the food reach faster in those districts, right? So a lot of scope is coming up. If we have another 4 5 minutes where if anybody wants to address some another comment which can help the young entrepreneurs to find their livelihood by making that company, Gaurav, please add.
Thanks, Mr. Walia. Uh, I would like to deviate a bit from what you just mentioned or you asked for. Since we discussed about a challenge which relates to finance or funding, I want to through this platform I want to inform the students or the entrepreneurs, or large or small, as well as the
Sure.
startups, that we as GIZ is implementing an instrument called Develop PPP, wherein a big entrepreneur, there are certain terms and conditions or the eligibility criteria mentioned on the website, where an entrepreneur can come with a startup. They can become a bi-party or they enter into a bi-party agreement, and then they formalize a project concept, submit it to GIZ. So there is a more than 50% funding opportunity from GIZ, from the federal government of Germany, provided that the minimum contribution from the
The entrepreneur is
private side, yeah, around €1 million.
right.
So that is an opportunity where large entrepreneurs can, utilize it to support or to raise
Small
a budding
businesses and all.
startup. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
No, I think we can talk about it off the program, and we would also love to host you. We discuss, and I personally, while doing this discussion, I felt that I want to meet everybody in person. We need to go out and have a cup of tea and discuss further how we can do more for young entrepreneurs. And though the central government and governments are doing, trust me, in
Their best.
Himachal, around nine of our startups, nine of Chitkara incubated startups from the state of entire Himachal are enjoying the CM, sustainable allowance of 3 lakh rupees per year, which is like they utilize that money. The government is giving support to the incubation centers. It's very different now. They are saying, take the money, give us a good funnel of ideas. So Ministry of Electronics doing so well, giving 7 lakh rupees to any innovator who's making a hardware device, whether for aerial mapping of agri farms or security, whatever. Maybe a product for better agriculture, or a e-tractor, or a better battery for a e-tractor, whatever. So a lot of things are in place. I think earlier comments जो हमने देखे हैं, उसमें we felt that there needs to be a larger connectivity between incubation centers. That
Right.
comment what Gaurav said, and backed by Pratik also, the kind of fluctuation which keeps on happening in terms of even the structural funding, and more awareness from policies and offerings from NABARD. Because trust me, NABARD, I personally admire how they are doing this great work. And even in ICRISAT, when I was there for 3 days, there was a discussion about NABARD with the CEO of T-Hub there with me.
Yes.
So it is very interesting to see that we are all coming together and talking about it, though we can't justify in just a 50 minutes of a session. But definitely it will give impetus and a thought process to the youngsters that yes, we have an opportunity. So I hope we could do some justice to this conversation for our audience. We all mean well, but it is a personal thanks from the Thai team, a great Thai team, the president Hirdesh Madan and the entire board. We thank you all for joining us today and making this session, I hope, worthwhile. I learned from it. I'm sure others would have also done. So thank you, Mr. Rajiv, and thank you, Gaurav ji, Arun ji. आपको जरूर मिलना है मुझे. And because Chitkara has a hydroponics plant, they set up way back 6, 7, 8 years back in Himachal Baddi campus. So आपको जरूर मिलना है हमने. And thank
Sure,
you.
sure, Sunil. You're most welcome. And thanks to Tai and particularly Hardesh Madan.
Yes.
Thank you again. Thank you very much.
Thank
Sir,
you
I
very
would
much.
like to I would like to say something here. I just want to add that the audience looks hooked. So since it is the last session of the whole season, you're welcome to continue this conversation for a few more minutes. If I found the audience leaving, then I will just let you know.
Yeah, sure. I think we would respect the time, but I can always have a welcome some comments if Pradeep wants to add or anybody.
I have one question from Arun. Being a banker, I'm curious to know whether he was supported by banks or he was on his own.
ये नहीं इन्होंने बताया.
मिलेंगे तो जरूर बताएंगे सर.
अच्छा, ये बड़ा अच्छा आंसर है.
That's a good.
That's brilliant.
That's brilliant.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
But I think the Thai team, tech team, we would like to wrap up. And we're pretty happy with our conversation. It has a very smooth landing, I believe. And over to Niharika now.
Well, sir, you're quite right. The flight took off very smoothly and landed quite safe and sound. Thank
Tough
you.
job.
But it's all right. As entrepreneurs, we're all used to tough jobs, and that's a part of our daily life. You know what they
No,
say.
well, when there are invites or sessions like these, or in the university or anywhere in the country or abroad, and they say we'd like to invite you, then I say, okay, am I a speaker or a moderator? So that's something very interesting. No, sir, you are moderating the session. then it's become very more interesting because sometimes you don't know the people, and then you have to bring everybody to a comfort level. And but anyway, thanks for this great opportunity. Over to you.
No, sir, I can totally understand your sentiments because I'm in your position quite often, and I know what it feels like to be on the backstage and to have to interact with people not met before.
Happy to serve. Happy to serve.
Right. So I must take this opportunity to thank all our esteemed panelists first. Ladies and gentlemen, we were in conversation with Mr. Rajiv Sivach, Chief General Manager, NABARD, Punjab, Mr. Pradeep Basu, co-founder and CEO of SatSure, Mr. Arun Naryal, Director of Hydro Crops, and Mr. Gaurav Sharma, Technical Expert from GIZ. And of course, the pilot of the flight was our moderator, Mr. Sumit Malia, Director of the Incubation Center at Chitkara University. And even more so, because now I see organic farming and gardening at home getting such a big push. So, it's just about connecting the dots, and it's just about a matter of time where we connect with our roots again and we take Agritech to new heights. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, it is finally a wrap on this edition of TiECon Chandigarh 2021. We are grateful to you. We are very heartwarmed by your response. And we are grateful to you for joining us for these entire 3 days. Yes, it was a 3-day extravaganza. Wouldn't have been possible without your support, and wouldn't have been possible without the support of all our sponsors and partners as well. So I must take this opportunity to thank them once more in no particular order. I would like to mention our partner ISB, and also the contribution of our platinum partner, Government of Punjab and Startup Punjab, our bronze partners, Hit Bullseye, Chitkara University, and NABARD, and our silver partners, STPI and Pioneer. And lastly, our gold partners, GIZ India and Punjab Technical University. जाते जाते आपसे बस एक बात कहना चाहूंगी, पिछला साल हम सब के लिए ही बहुत अलग रहा है, लेकिन अगर कुछ सीखा है तो वो ये है, जिंदगी संभालने को जिंदगी पड़ी है, पूरी जिंदगी संभालने को हमारे पास जिंदगी पड़ी है, बस वो लम्हा संभाल लेते हैं जहां पर हमारी जिंदगी आज खड़ी है. It's really about the little things. And this is me, Niharika, official anchor and MC for TiE Chandigarh 2021, signing off now. We'll see you next year. हम है राही प्यार के, फिर मिलेंगे चलते चलते. शुक्रिया, नमस्कार और शुभ रात्रि.
Thank you very much. Thank you.